Good evening, all teachers. Happy to see all the teachers online after a long time. So I guess many of you have already been part and with Heartfulness, and now we welcome you all again with this new session and the new module of Heartfulness called Heartful Teacher. Now, with this new module, we are going to learn how to dive deeper with some few new topics, some new models that we have with these new topics. But for those who are joining for the first time, let me give a very brief introduction about what is heartfulness. I hope it's audible because I'm getting a message from somebody saying it's not audible.
Madam, it is audible.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So for those who are, if not audible, please plug on your headphones. Probably that might help. So let me give you a brief introduction about Heartfulness. So Heartfulness is a non-profit organization and it is spread across 160 countries. It is mainly into meditation, having several umbrellas, which is called Heartfulness Education Trust, in which we have several programs for schools, colleges, teachers, a module for teachers, some modules for students. And this training program is one of the part of that school programs that we have with Heartfulness Education Trust. And all those who had who are joined probably for the previous sessions might be aware of having some modules called Inspire Teachers Training Program or Resilience in Crisis. And this is a new module where we are going to dive even more deeper and try to understand some more topics, something new we'll try to find within ourselves. So for that reason, it will be a very interactive session, because if it goes in a one directional way, it becomes quite boring, and it is not that activity based. It's the best, right? So how are we going to interact? So we have few options. First is our chat box. For all those who are joining from Zoom, they can use the chat box which is available on Zoom. Those joining from YouTube, can you type into their chat box of your YouTube? Our volunteers are monitoring our YouTube chat box as well. The second option we can use is you can unmute yourself. You can raise your hand. We'll unmute you and you can speak and give your opinions, because here we are not here to teach you anything. We'll have a formal discussion. We'll also get to learn many new topics from you, and we'll be happy to learn something new from you as well. So it's a sharing kind of a session, we can say. It's not one directional. And the third way we can communicate is through Menti. I hope you all might be aware of Menti. If not, let me tell you how can we do that. So we'll give you a website called menti.com. So with that menti.com, you can go to your browser, type into the address bar menti.com, and you can see, you can put the code, whatever is written on the screen, and the question posed will be seen on your laptop or mobile after you enter that code. Okay, all right. So let's have a quick and a very fast demonstration of how we can interact using Menti, because using chat box and using unmute and speaking, we are all aware of. So a quick question for all of you, that I know we all are joining from all across India, different parts of the country. It's amazing to see all teachers across the country coming together under one roof of this unit. So we would like to know, from which part of the country are you joining from? From which city are you joining from? So you can, I'll just share you the screen. You can go to menti.com and type in MENTI, Menti, and type in this code 882904 64. And you will be able to see this screen that I'm currently sharing on my computer. Just go to www.menti.com. I'll also put this into the chat box. You can use the link I have provided in the chat box. You can directly click on that link and go to the and get on to this web page. Okay, so we have started getting the answers. Okay, Dubai, wow, very nice. I thought it's only India related, but people across country are also joining. Happy to know that. India, okay, Delhi, Pune, okay, Delhi, Chennai, Maharashtra, Chandrapur, Mumbai, Noida, Chennai, Gujarat, Vadodara, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, United Kingdoms. Wow, superb. So it is not a national level program. We can say it's an international program as well. Hyderabad, Patiala, Tamil Nadu. Wow, Ambala, Punjab, superb. Haryana. So we have participants all across, not only the all across country, but all across, we can globally also participants are joining us. That is wonderful to know that. Let me make it full screen so it's visible to all. So it's a beautiful cloud getting created from all the participants: Tirupur, Surat, Patna, Hisar, Uttarakhand, Singapore, very, very, very fine. Telangana, Nalgonda, wonderful. I guess a lot of participants from Dubai as well, I guess, because it's seen in a bigger font. Ahmedabad, a lot of them from Ahmedabad, from Chandrapur, from Chennai, major of the participants, Vadodara, New Delhi, okay, Jammu, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Pune, Maharashtra, okay, very good. Okay, keep posting your answers. Now that you have got that how we can respond on this Menti as well. So let's move on with the next question. That today's topic we are going to see is science of happiness, isn't it? So from now, let us start somewhere and let us analyze. Just a moment. And let us analyze, let us peep a bit into ourselves and let us find what is the most happiest moment for me. The most happiest moment for me is when you can post your answers. Now you will be able to see this screen on your laptop or computer using the same code on menti.com. And you can just think for a moment that in my life up till now, what is the moment which has been the happiest for me till now? For many of you, it might be many events, and you must, and the best amongst that you can just mention over here that for me, what is the best moment or what is the happiest moment for me till now? Using the same code on Menti, I've posted the link. The code is the same, 88290464.
You need to move to the next slide, otherwise people are still seeing the older one.
Okay, I have moved. Is it not reflecting?
No, you have to do it in the presentation.
Okay. Okay, so now is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you can use the same Menti code, and now we have to answer about the most happiest moment for me is when. What is the most happiest moment? The day I met Chariji. Wow, okay, very nice. The previous question we are done with. Now we are moving with the next question of what is the happiest moment for me. I meditate, when I help someone, when I got my job, wonderful. Bhandara, very nice. But for many those who are not familiar probably, so Bhandara is a big annual celebration that we have, international seminar kind of we have every couple of months in Kanha Shanti Vanam. So that is we term as Bhandara. When my baby was born with God, when I became a teacher, wonderful. Parents' face, when I travel, when I'm with the family, reading books, when I'm relaxing, when I became a mother, when I'm in present. Now that's a wonderful answer. That when I'm in present, I'm happy. So that's really wonderful. When I help someone, being peaceful and myself, when I'm with my kids studying with satisfaction. That is also a wonderful answer we are getting. That there is no more happiness than satisfaction, because whatever we do into our material life, it is ultimately to get certain level of satisfaction, isn't it? While painting, yes, well, by doing our hobbies, we really feel so relaxed and satisfied and to ourselves. While playing, first day of job, when I got my job, with family, with my friends, while making some growth. Okay, wonderful. When I got my first sitting, okay, that is also very nice. When I joined Heartfulness. Okay, wonderful answers. Thank you all. Thank you all for all those responses. Keep responding. Till then, I'll stop my screen and we'll move ahead. So now that we have started thinking about something about happiness, we'll dive some more deeper and try to learn something more about happiness. That how we can do what we can do more to achieve this happiness into ourselves, which is already there, and how we can flourish it even more. And for that, we have a very special presenter for the day, Bharat Madhavan. So let me introduce Bharat brother to you all. He's done his IIT in mechanical engineering. He has done his MS in mechanics from USA, Masters in Computer System Networking and Telecommunication from Jopkins, USA. He has a long experience since 1996 till 2019 in various multinational companies in US and in Chennai. And his current skills is professional software engineer, and meditation he treats as his award and achievements. So that's so wonderful, and we welcome Bharat sir to this session, and I request you to please take this session ahead.
Thank you, Pooja. Good evening, dear teachers. Really happy to be here with all of you. It's always a pleasure to get to meet with teachers, the flag bearers for, the future of our country in a sense, taking, our next generation towards the right path and towards a glorious future. My gratitude always with all my teachers stays. Really happy to be here as part of this session. I think it was a great beginning with Pooja asking the right question to make it a personal thing, right, as to when you were happy. In this session, we will try to keep it between keeping it informative. We'll have a lot of data points. It may be a little bit overwhelming for you as well. So you may want to keep paper and pen with you so that you can note down some important points that come along the way. We'll make it interactive as much as possible given this online environment. We'll, like Pooja was talking about, through the various modes of interaction. And more importantly, we will have a good experiential session on meditation and see how we can really generate this happiness within ourselves. These are some of the things that we will have in this session. I have a presentation that I'll kind of follow so that, I don't go all around in the topic, but try to keep my focus on specific points. So I'll start my presentation, and then as we go along the way, we will have discussions. And of course, please feel free to, put in your questions in the chat, and we will kind of engage through that mode. Before we start, I think I would be really happy if all of you can, or at least many of you can, enable your videos, keep your audios muted and videos enabled. Typically when we are conducting these programs, that's the best way, especially in the online environment, to feel that we are all together. So please enable your videos, disable your audios or mute your audios so that we can see each other, and also you can see the presentation at the same time. And of course, at any time you have any questions, please you can put up your hands or put it in the chat box. At the right time, we'll pause and we will kind of interact as much as possible within the scope. So the topic is science of happiness. So it's not just happiness, it's science of happiness. So there is some logic behind it. That's what we are trying to say through this, right? There is some concept behind it. It's not just a word that either you have it or not. It's not like that. There is something that we can work towards. Just like how you teach science in school, you can also learn happiness is what we are trying to convey through this topic, or the title of the topic. So the session outline, we have about 4 modules within the session. The first module is on the what. What is this happiness all about? We will touch upon that. We will look into what is called as a 40% happiness margin, the various sources of happiness, and basically understand what is this all about. Then we get into the aspect that we can actually have a choice in our lives to remain happy, to first be happy and then to remain happy. It is not something that is dictated by our external circumstances or by something that's outside my scope, but it's very much within my scope. What is called as the longest research study on happiness has been conducted by Harvard, and we look at some of the data points, and these are very interesting. At least it tells us the do's and don'ts that we must consider when we are aiming towards living a happy and contented life. And finally, we will look into meditation, its link with happiness, and we will actually practice the heartfulness meditation as part of this session. So getting started, we have some reference materials which we used. So we want to acknowledge those materials here. Not only acknowledge, but also kind of bring it in your forefront so that you can also refer to these. These are all really good books that you can actually read if you are interested to know more. These are all based on scientific research. They are not just, like we say, gyan in a sense, but they are really research data that are shared. The first one is called as the How of Happiness by Sonia. Based on various scientific studies and research, this shows how we can have lasting happiness and how to continue remaining happy. The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acker. It talks about the pursuit of success and happiness, and how unfortunately many of us associate success with happiness, but it is not so. The 10% Happier book by Dan Harris. It's a very interesting book. It talks about kind of reducing this, what they call as the chatter in the head, chatter in the mind, through meditation and through awareness programs, so that we can just up the skill of this happiness, a scale of this happiness by 10%. And finally, Hardwiring Happiness by Rick Hansen. And again, these are not just the only books, there are many more, but these are the top books that we refer to in sharing these data points with you. Hardwiring Happiness is about neuroplasticity, and we'll come to it as we go through this session. And you will, in a few slides, we will talk about this particular topic called neuroplasticity and positive neuroplasticity. So now let's get started. What is happiness? Right? Let's hold our thoughts. Right? I think typically what we this is very common, especially in classrooms. I have observed, right, that when someone asks a question, immediately I want to be the first one to answer. Me. You've seen this in your own classrooms as teachers, right? So as soon as we ask a question, it's not necessary to answer. Let us wait. Let us pause. Right? There is always something deeper to such questions, which we really pause and go into ourselves. We can find a much slightly more better answer than immediately coming up. You see, of course, when you ask a question, where are you from? To say I'm from Vadodara or from Chennai, it's very easy, right? You don't need to think. But for a question like what is happiness, it's not necessary that you should immediately respond. Just wait for some time, right? Think about it and then answer. But before you even answer, there is a way for us to answer, like Pooja was talking about. Let me share. Let me stop the share and then I'll share the Menti screen. In the meantime, think about this. According to you, what is happiness? Okay. Here is the Menti link. Yeah. Please use this Menti link and answer there rather than answering the chat. That way we can all see it in one place. So all of you, I request all of you to use this Menti link, and which I put here. I am also sharing the screen. So you can actually answer us right here on this chat. So use the Menti link that I've sent, or use this code 76767751. And let's hear from you. Very nice. Happiness is being myself. It is a state of mind. I love that. I think I was looking for that answer. It is a positive feeling. Yes, absolutely. It is definitely a feeling, right? It's not just a thought. When we feel calmness, no, I mean, I'm not asking when you are happy. I'm asking what is happiness. Okay. So it's an emotional state of mind. Again, you're coming back to that state of mind. That's right. I think that's a good answer. A positive feeling is right. Being myself. Yes, being myself can give me happiness, but that's not the question, right? What is happiness? So a soulful emotion, excellent, right? So it's an emotion or a feeling. And again, I'll come to that. Comfortable, easy mind, a state of mindfulness. I'm very, very, very happy to hear that, teachers. That's exactly what it is. It is a state of mindfulness. We are talking about heartfulness here, but heartfulness actually embraces and encompasses mindfulness within itself. But I think the feeling, the word satisfaction, the word state of mind is coming out here, as you see. I see somebody talking about inner peace. Okay. That's also fine. What other words stand out here? Let us look for them. A peaceful mind, definitely agreed. State of mind is standing out again. So that also to me is nice. Let's please, you can continue putting your answers here, because we can collect all this and kind of create a nice statistics out of it. In the meantime, when I'm in love, yes, when I'm in love, you are happy, but is that happiness? Can I be happy when I'm not in love? Let ask these questions, right? I mean, these are good questions to ask. And as teachers, our most important thing is not to give answers, but to ask questions. So let me go back to the presentation. You can please continue putting your answers in the chat. It will help. Okay. Happiness is, right? And you're all answering this. Please continue to answer, but I'm now going to move into the answer that I pulled out of this book, Sonia. Okay. It's a very, to me, I really like this answer. It really, kind of touched my heart because it had all the right words in it. Number one, it talks about experience. Okay. So happiness is not just a thought. You cannot think and be happy. You have to experience it. Then there are three words following that after the word experience. That is joy, contentment, and well-being. Okay. All three are, words that you guys, all you teachers have already put up in the Menti cloud, right? So it is not just joy, contentment, and well-being, but it is the experience of it, right? But it doesn't stop there. Okay. It is not about just being joyful or contented or to have a laid out life physically, mentally, emotionally, etc. But something that follows beyond that, a sense that one's life is good, meaningful, and worthwhile. You see? So I can't be happy just because I'm not doing anything, I'm just lazing around. That does not give me long-lasting happiness. Something that has to be meaningful. If I put good, meaningful, and worthwhile together, I would probably pull out one word: a purposeful life. A life filled with purpose is absolutely essential for happiness. If that purpose is missing, then you may be happy today, tomorrow, but after a while, it will fade away. And as teachers, I am sure all of you are extremely, extremely blessed to have a purpose in your life, which many of us, I'm from the corporate world. There, purpose is not as strong, as I would say being a teacher or being in the field of education, because your life itself is oriented towards purpose. But for people like us, we have to find purpose in our lives. So happiness is three points here. I would take three words. One is its experience. So is it a feeling or an emotion? There's a lot of discussions there, right? People say joy is the real feeling and happiness is the expression of that feeling, which is an emotion. But again, it's just, I would say, play of words, but it is an experience. That is important. It's not just a thought. An experience is something that is wholesome, holistic. It belongs in the entire system. It is not just a mental construct. That it includes the mind, it includes the heart, it includes the body, it includes the emotions, it includes the feelings. It includes the spiritual state of that person as well. So experience, then joy, and then purpose. I think I would personally take out these three words from this definition. Experience of joy and a purposeful life can give me happiness. Okay. Is there anything anyone wants to agree or disagree in this point, what we just said? Or we are comfortable with this? Okay, I'm assuming that we are okay with this. We'll move on. So now going to this, what is called as the sources of happiness. I said that we will talk about this. It's an interesting point. So we said there are all these words. There's the experience, then there's the feeling, right? Then there is joy, then there is purpose. Now, Sonia, in her book, she talks about a meta-analysis, as they call it. It's basically a statistical analysis of over 200 studies on the effects of happiness. So she observed that happy people have stronger health, stronger, longer life, and better careers. Plus, they are more creative, they have stronger relationships, healthier cultures, and communities. Now, continuing further, she says that there are three fundamental sources to happiness. And these are, I'm sure all of you, through common sense, we can very much agree or kind of align towards it. And these are just, coming out of statistical analysis. The first one is a genetic baseline. Then we have external factors. And finally, we have intentional activities. 50% of the source comes from the genetic baseline, according to her statistics. 10% are related to external factors, and 40% are intentional activities. Now we will see what these are, each one of these. The first one, we call it the genetic baseline. These are pretty much hardwired in a person, in a sense, right? That is my complete makeup of my system. But again, here also there is a lot of new research happening. Things are changing very fast because there is a genetics and then what we now call as epigenetics. Epigenetics are some things that can override genetics in the shorter term and in the longer term. And these epigenetics are something that we can create. And they belong in this remaining 50% actually. If you really see, when I go further into the next 2 points, you will understand how these epigenetics play a role in overriding genetics and these personality traits that we carry. But at the base, they do not change. We cannot do much about it, but we have this other remaining 50% where we can play with. Typically, according to science, this is called as my happiness baseline, that I set my baseline with this 50%. The remaining, now moving on to the next one, the second one is called as the external factors. This dependent on my habituation, my influence of people around me. If I have a good boss, I'll be more happy. If I have a grumpy principal, my my happiness will get affected. My health, if I am rich, I may feel happier. If I have a good job, I feel happy. My friends, my children, all the things around me, they influence my happiness. Surprisingly, it is only 10%. That is one. There are two very surprising points here. Number one is these external factors contribute only to about 10% of my happiness quotient, as it's called. And two, more importantly, it reverts back to the baseline, the happiness baseline that we saw in the previous slide very soon. We will see in a quick example on this. So this is a short activity where we can just chat in the chat box itself. I really don't need to get into a Menti for this. Let us say you win a lottery. Okay. By default, my baseline is negative, sad, and sarcastic, let us say. And I win a lottery of 10 crores. So I'm going to ask 2-3 questions now. Okay. And you can chat, you can put it in the chat box. I'm sure all of you are happy by seeing this, right? That you have won a lottery of 10 crores. Will you be happy today? Yes or no? A quick yes or no on your chat box. Of course, yes, right? If anyone says no, I'm going to be very surprised. Right? Goes without saying. Yes, ma'am. Correct. Yes. All right. Absolutely. Okay. No doubt about this. Let's move on. Okay, I think Vanita said it's not long lasting. That's the question about. I only need 5 million. Okay. All right. So you'll be happy with just 5. All right, let's see. Second question, will you be happy 1 year from now? 1 year from now, maybe. Okay, now a few maybes are coming in. A no is coming in. Because I'm sarcastic, it will be a no, somebody saying. It depends. See, to me, the answer is it depends, right? Maybe, may not. It depends on how I've used that 1 year to change myself. If I'm going to be the same negative, sad, sarcastic person, probably not. But if I worked upon myself to change because now that so much money I've got, maybe. But I think here is a philosophical person, Dr. Avinash, saying my happiness is in my control. Yes, sir, that's true. But we are talking about the external factor, right? Look at this 10 crores as an external factor. Okay. I will choose to be happy. Yes, Shailaja, that's a good point. We will come to that. No amount is enough, Sriram. Okay, good point. The third question, will you experience joy, contentment? And so Carmel says a big no. Wow. Okay. Excellent. So I would say it's borderline, right? Now let's move on to surely no. Now, will you experience joy, contentment, well-being? No ways. I think more people are now saying no. There's a few are saying it depends again, right? Not necessarily, I would say, right? The answer I would say is not necessarily. It's not necessary that money can give me joy, contentment, and well-being. Maybe it will take me towards, let's say I start developing some bad habits just because I got a lot of money. Then my well-being is very much in a question, right? Will my life become good, meaningful, and worthwhile? You see how what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to pull the exact words that are in the definition. So the definition said it's an experience. Then it said joy, content, and well-being. Then it used the words good, meaningful, and worthwhile. So will your life become good, meaningful, and worthwhile just because you won a lottery? Right? Yes, some may. Again, all these are borderlines. And now, as you see, if you just go and look at your chat yourself, what started off as a yes in such a strong way, initially we all said yes. And more we are seeing people are moving towards no, right? Moving more towards no, not necessary, probably not, I don't think so, right? These are the answers we are hearing here. And it is fair, right? It is fair that these are external factors. It is one way to give me happiness, but it's not the only way. It need not be the only way. Let's move on. Okay. Let's keep track of our time also, please. So it's important. Now, this is the interesting slide. I think this is where we need to spend time. The remaining 40%. So let's ignore these 50-60%, right? They are outside our scope. Or rather, I would say this 40% is where we can actually make a difference. Kind of put 6 points here. Actually, they are all related in a sense. Thoughts and behaviors, they are connected. Attitudes and intentions are connected. Feelings and emotions are connected. So I should have put them in this order, right? My behavior is dependent on my thoughts. My attitude is dependent on my intentions. My emotions is dependent on my inner feelings. But if you see, these are all relating to only one thing that many of you already pointed out, state of my mind, right? I would go a little bit further. I would say it is the state of my mind and state of my heart, because there are some things that are here and there are some things that are here. My feelings and emotions, my intentions and my attitudes, they all belong here in a sense. As a matter of fact, you can't really separate the two. You cannot separate the mind from the heart. They work together, work hand in hand in a sense. My thoughts and my feelings. So in heartfulness, we talk of two very, very important words. Just two words, being mindful and being heartful. Being mindful is to being aware, to being cognizant of what's happening around, inside me and outside me. Being heartful is about having the right feelings of joy, sympathy, empathy, compassion, love, etc. So these two go hand in hand, being mindful and being heartful. These two things can belong in this 40%, is what I am trying to communicate or convey this message to all of you, that just these two words is what you should be aware of, being mindful and being heartful. So the 40% happiness margin depends on the quality of my mindset. It results from a regulated mind and a purified heart. It is intentional. Now, when we say it is intentional, it basically means it is in my control. I want to ask this question. Do you really agree to these 4 statements that I just now made? Do you agree to this? Maybe you may not agree to the 40% versus 30% or whatever, but do you agree to this concept? If anyone has any alternate thoughts, maybe they can unmute and ask or discuss. But I think majority is agreeing here in the chat that I see, at least. or actually 99%. Quality of mindset, yes, right? Agree and yes. I see everyone is agreeing to this point. It depends on situations, Asha Nambiar. I think, Asha, this is very important. It depends on situations. When you say situations, what are those situations? You should ask yourself, right? There are situations outside your control, those are external to you. And then there are situations, those are inside your control. We are distinguishing between these two. The 10%, the second point we said is the 10% that is outside your control. This is 40% within your scope. Okay. So please, I think it is easy to, point my finger at somebody else. But we all know it as teachers that when I point my finger at one, 3 more fingers are pointing back at me. The same thing applies here. Happiness is in my control. Please believe in it first. Then only we can make it happen. So with this message, I would like to move forward to the next topic. That it is a choice. Okay. It is in my control. When I say it's not really in my control, it is a choice that I have that I can exercise. Okay, so we are moving to the second topic, a second section. Happiness is related to gratitude. It's related to positive social relationships. It's related to optimism. It is related to meaningful life. There are simple ways to develop positive neuroplasticity, and we will talk about all these as we go. And also, we talk about happy hormones, what these are, the dose hormones, and we will just get a few data points from there. So when we say it is a choice, does it mean that I can buy it? Can I buy happiness? Remember the lottery example, right? You really cannot. So when we say it is a choice, it really refers back to that 40% that it is intentional. One, right? That I have to have the right intent for it. I must want it first. Second, just wanting it is not enough. I must work for it. As teachers, all of you give this advice to your students, right? Just wanting to score 100 centum is not enough. You must put efforts, right? Applies here too. It's exactly the same thing, whether it is mathematics or whether it's happiness, it's the same concept. And again, same concept, it is trainable, right? Whether it's mathematics or science or happiness, yes, we can train ourselves towards it. You may say, is it possible? We will see, right? As we go forward, you will know. And we are going to talk about something very, very interesting. Maybe you can take notes here. I'll go through this a little fast. There are 12 factors that have been identified in these books, which we kind of presented in the beginning, that can increase our happiness. Okay. Let's look at what these are. Number one, expressing gratitude. I talked about it in the previous slide as well. How can expressing gratitude increase my happiness? Please think about it. I'm not going to give answers to this because I don't have an answer. The answer is inside you. Cultivating optimism. Avoiding overthinking and social comparison. Overthinking is a big problem, right? All of us know it, right? The more you think about a problem, the more it magnifies in my own mind, in my own mental makeup. And it only keeps growing and growing till it becomes a disease in us. Social comparison, you see, it's a huge problem. When I was a kid, I remember the very first ad where I was introduced to this concept in this advertisement called for Onida TV, right? I'm sure you guys, all of you remember this. Onida TV advertisement caption was neighbors envy, owner's pride, right? It is so saddening that I will feel happy when my neighbors are going to be jealous and envious about me, right? Of course, it's a marketing gimmick that they're trying to sell their product, but social comparison will definitely affect our happiness. We can be dead sure of this. I'm sure your logical reasoning and your common sense will clearly explain that it is so. Practicing acts of kindness, this is something that we can do. We can practice it. We don't need to preach, or we don't need to read it in books, but we can practice kindness, acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, as they say, right? In the streets, at home. Like they say, charity begins at home. Actually, happiness begins at home. Nurturing relationships, positive relationships. We'll talk about this when we talk about the research, the third module. Developing strategies for coping, right? It's not just about being in stress. We are all under stress. In whichever work you are in, and especially if you are teachers, I know, because I'm a correspondent in a school and I see teachers under constant stress, right? But how do you deal with it is the question. It's not about getting bogged down by stress. Going further, learning to forgive. It's an amazing way to increase happiness in my life. Just that simple act of forgiveness. Even though that other person was wrong, you were right, doesn't matter. Just forgive and move on. Forgetting is even better, right? Like they say in the scriptures, forgive and forget. But at least we can start with forgiving. Doing more activities that truly engage you. Remember the definition of happiness going back. We said there needs to be a purposeful living for us to actually be happy. So do work that engages you more, right? Not just teach the same classes, conduct some quiz, some debates, some, I don't know, so many things can be done. Competitions, engaging students more, making them more active in class will make you more purposeful as well and increase our happiness. Savoring life's joys. You see, this is very important. There's so many small things that give us joy in life. It's not the big things that give joy. It's the small things, right? And as teachers, our students give us joy the most. Savoring that, writing that down in our diaries, remembering it, recollecting it, really absorbing it will give us so much of happiness. Committing to your goals, again, going back to that point of having a purposeful life. Commit. Today you may be working as a teacher, maybe just to make money because you need money. There's nothing wrong with it. But commit to a more purposeful life, how you can actually transform some children in your own through your own work. Practicing religion and spirituality, something that will definitely give happiness. Always, you would have noticed, an atheist is always less happier than a religious person. Even though the religious person may not be strictly devout or whatever. But the reason for this is very simple. A religious or a spiritual person believes in something. An atheist starts with disbelief. And take care of your body. Health is something directly related to happiness, and we will touch upon this as well. So there was something that are missing in these 12 points. We typically think there are especially two very important things that we attribute happiness to. Okay. One is IQ and other is success. We say, or we think that IQ, or the intelligent quotient, and success in life will give me happiness. And so all parents and all teachers are pushing their students to study more hard, push them more and more, right? We do that in our own work, we know it. But both these are missing in this list. As a matter of fact, we will look at this more as we go forward. A more intelligent and successful person, as we become more and more intelligent and successful, one of the things, unfortunate, what I would say, what is the word for it? Problems, right? Is loneliness. And loneliness is directly, inversely proportional to happiness. Leading to this beautiful formula that our global guide of heartfulness has given. His name is Daji, Shri Kamlesh Patel. We call him Daji. And he has a very simple formula. He calls it the happiness formula, equal to the number of desires fulfilled divided by the total number of desires. It's a very simple concept. As you can see, being a fraction, the fraction can go up by either increasing the quotient or by decreasing the denominator. So either you keep fulfilling all your desires or you keep reducing the total number of desires you have. You can be happy in both ways. Now let's hear from Daji himself in this short video. And he has a very nice way to explain this for all of us.
If one wants to have infinite happiness, infinite bliss, then we ought to minimize numbers of desires, from more and more of it to less and less, and finally, if possible, to zero. Hello, everyone. In today's session, I would like to cover perhaps the most interesting topic. We all seek happiness, emotional support, and a loving relationship. So we'll talk today at length, not so much in details, but some principles which governs the laws of happiness, how to increase emotional intelligence and better our relationships. Let me start this session with a quote from German philosopher Schopenhauer. He asked, how can we determine whether a man is happy or unhappy? He defined true happiness as the complete satisfaction of all desires. Is it possible? You could say that the happiness of a person can be described mathematically. One of those lighter moments, this equation came as an inspiration. Like if all the desires are fulfilled, let's say you had 10 desires. And out of these 10 desires, all 10 desires are fulfilled. That means 10 divided by 10 times 100. It'll be 100% happiness, isn't it? Let's say if out of 10, only 5 are fulfilled, then it would be 50%. But think of an individual who says he has no desires. The total number would be 0. So what would happen to this equation? Happiness is equal to desires fulfilled divided by total number of desires. Where total number of desires tend to be 0, anything you divide by 0 remains indeterminate factor. Earlier days we used to call it as infinite. In a desireless state, we don't expect anything. When you expect nothing, you accept everything, no matter what happens around us. When we realize that something is beyond me, I'm pushed into a certain situation where I have no other choice but to accept that scenario. That's a good situation, though it can bring about a lot of turbulence and turmoils in life. But accepting whatever be the situation helps us. Suppose you don't accept certain thing that has happened in family, and you go on fighting. What do you learn out of this? But the moment we learn things wisely, we accept, because your heart says, because your heart feels that love. Love makes us forget all kinds of defects in others. And it is out of this love that acceptance emerges, out of compassion.
So that was a short video of Daji explaining that formula. So yes, Karuna, right? You're talking about there is no end to desires. The equation does make sense, right? Unfortunately, most of us are wired to expect, yes, that is true. But how can we work on it, right? Again, these are things that we can work upon. These are in our control. So moving on.
Sorry, brother, by mistake I clicked on breakout room. Now again they are in.
No problem, no problem. No, I think we are all back, right?
Yes, yes, I think we are.
Oh. Okay, good. So the next point, we said we'll talk about something called as happy hormones. These are inside us, right? These are generated within us. It's called as the dose. DOSE. D stands for dopamine. It's also called as the reward chemical. When we do something and when we succeed in completing it properly, right? This gets released. It makes us feel good in various things that we do, celebrating. So this you can actually put to practice in your classrooms. You see how you can actually help children feel happy. Celebrate their wins, small things they do, have a nice, let's congratulate them, right? All students stand and clap, right? Recognizing small wins by students. They will feel so good. Not just younger children, even elder kids will feel very good when we recognize their achievements. Because internally, this is what is happening. When you feel that you have completed something successfully, the reward chemical works. Instead of that, if we say, oh, you stupid boy, you did not do this properly, right? See the effect that will have on him. It's all chemical reactions at the end of the day that's happening inside here. The second is called as the oxytocin. It is also called as the love chemical or the love hormone. It is related to the physical part, that is my touch. So playing with a baby or playing with a toy, holding hands, hugging, all these gives release to that what is called as the love hormone. And even not just me touching a dog or a baby, right? Even if you watch in the TV somebody doing it, still it has an effect. But it's very physical. It's a physical in nature. The third is the serotonin chemical. It's called as the mood stabilizer, or basically that which regulates our mood. And there are various ways of doing it. Meditation is one, running, getting exposed to sun, swimming makes us feel, generates this in a large way, actually. Cycling as well. And finally, endorphin, also called as the painkiller. This is also a natural chemical inside us that gets released when we are in pain. And that's why you would have noticed these laughter therapy, as they call it, right? Where laughter exercises are practiced. Even, without a reason, people laugh and they feel good about it because this chemical, works. And dark chocolate, by the way, as mentioned here, also is related to it. Watching a comedy, right? I mean, in any language, doesn't matter. When you understand that comedy, you will feel good. These are called as happy hormones. There are ways to trigger in the body itself through these, what is called as these three points in our fingers, in our hand. And we will watch this next video by Dr. Alan Mandel, a short video where he's going to show us how to trigger this happy hormones in ourselves by pressing these 3 points. Just give me a minute and I'll play this video. Okay, 1 minute. All right.
Welcome everyone, Dr. Mandel here. There's no question that stress weakens our system. It causes that fight or flight, that adrenaline, that cortisol that's secreted throughout our bloodstream, raising our heart rate, causing sweatiness and dizziness, affecting our digestion, and affecting other bodily systems. Here is a technique that I want to share with you that's going to combat your stress. It's going to allow you to sleep better, relax, and take away that anxiety. We're going to stimulate 3 points that are directly lined up with each other. If you look at the chart here, right at the tip of the third finger, that's going to be your anxiety point. In the middle of the hand, that's going to be the stress point. And right where the hand meets the wrist, that's going to be the point for insomnia, to help you sleep better. We're going to stimulate these 3 points in this order. By doing so, we're working this meridian. That's going to cause stimulation up to the brain, to the nervous system. The brain then will secrete those happy and relaxing hormones throughout your system, giving you that tranquility, that instant relaxation, that feeling of serenity. We're going to stimulate.
As he demonstrates this, I suggest you can also try it while he is doing it itself. I'm sure you will feel what he explains as part of the video.
3 points in order, starting from the third finger to the middle of the hand and then the wrist area. As we stimulate this, we're going to apply pressure with our thumb on the front part of our third finger with our other finger behind it. And you need to apply firm pressure and you hold it for 30 seconds. And while holding it, you're going to feel a sensation or a change coming over your brain, behind the eyes or behind the nasal region. Then after, you're going to go right to the middle of the hand, using the thumb again, the finger behind it, and you're going to squeeze the middle of the hand right there. As you apply it, you're compounding that reaction that's going on from the previous acupressure point. You should continue to feel more sensations as you hold this second point. After 30 seconds, you're going to go right below the wrist where it meets the hand, right in this area. You'll feel like an indentation. Do not go on the bone right below the hand. And you're going to continue to apply 30 more seconds of deep, firm acupressure. By applying pressure to each point, starting from the third finger, working your way down, even though you're working different points for anxiety, stress, and insomnia, when you compound all these points together, the technique is that much more effective.
So I request all participants to try it out, right? All these things is in us trying and seeing their benefits in our lives. And there is, in all these things, there is some research and some effort that is put in behind. And to know more, we can always dive deeper and try to understand. Moving further. So we'll talk about neuroplasticity next. So if anyone wants to make an attempt in your chat, in our chat box, what do you think this neuroplasticity is? Do you want to try? It'll be good if, what you think this word neuroplasticity mean to you? Renuka, it is, you can do it, but he typically talks about the left palm, right? This middle finger, then the center, and then this point. So better to do it on this side. So retaining the ability to learn new things, ability of neuron to, okay, rewiring brain, fine, that sounds okay. Is brain some like kind of a circuit to rewire? We will, anybody else? Flexibility of the mind, exactly. Related to nerves, definitely linked to the brain. Changing of neurons according to our thoughts. Nice. to learn new things is reviving the mind and neurons, okay? Training our mind, regrouping the neurons, nice point. Training the brain to function differently, Carmel, that's very close. And we will see, rewiring is the right word, yes. So we will see what it is, okay? Neuroplasticity refers to the ability of the brain to change its internal structure itself and its functioning because of that through our own life and activities, through our own efforts in a sense. It works on two fundamental principles. Principle number one is the neurons that fire together, they wire together. Basically, they form the circuit. And second is, if you don't use it, if you don't use that connections, you will soon lose it. So based on these, the concept of neuroplasticity work, and something interesting about this is in children especially, neuroplasticity is very strong and flexible in children. It is about the reforming of neural pathways, and it is more constant and rapid during the first 5 years of life. Because of this, young children can quickly unlearn negative habits and routines and replace them with more positive ones. So this is something for us all, especially kindergarten teachers here, if you are there, to remember this is in our hands, very much in our hands, on how we can mold the lives of younger children because of this fundamental principle that this rewiring is much easier in young children. We see another video showing us this neuroplasticity in action. It's again a very interesting video, and I'd like to play this now. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, let's watch this video.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-traveled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
Okay, so that was a graphical way of showing how these things work in us. I mean, I hope it is as easy as they show it, right? But I'm sure it is doable, right? Where there is a will, there is a way. So we move on. So what is this cultivating positive neuroplasticity means? Developing a new habit. It is easy to say than to put to practice. But in the book I was referring to about neuroplasticity, or hardwiring happiness as it's called, he gives 4 beautiful steps to really develop positive neuroplasticity. The first and foremost is our ability to pause. Without this, the next steps are impossible, because always a habit is something that triggers as a reaction within us. And if I am in this habitual mode of getting angry when somebody says something, that's the first thing that's going to come. How can I pause at that time before I react is the question that we have to ask. And this is where, again, in many of these things, as you would have seen, meditation is completely, kind of wired into this whole concept. Meditation is your perfect tool to develop this ability to pause, to bring about a meaningful pause in our own existence is meditation. Once we pause, we have this feeling of this positivity. In the case of me, don't want to get angry, right? I can generate this thought of forgiveness, or a thought of kindness, or a thought of gratitude. It can be anything. It can be up to me to decide that. Moving on from this feeling, how do I take it to the next level? I have to kind of savor it. So pause, feel, savor, and then finally spread. So these are simple steps that we can put to practice, dear teachers, right? In everything that we do, to do this kind of a positive affirmation or rewiring of our system, whether it's for us or for our children, we have this additional responsibility of not just changing ourselves, but also bringing about this positive change in our own students, so that the future will become more brighter. So pause, feel, savor, spread. This is the flow of cultivating positive neuroplasticity. Now we move on to the third module, called as the research in happiness. So here we are going to talk about one of the oldest research that has ever been done in this topic of happiness. Okay. It is done by Harvard University. And it is not the largest study, it is the longest study. Okay. So what does that mean when we say longest study? It was started in 1938 and this study is still going on. At that time when they started, it included 268 people. Of course, many people have already passed on, but there are many people who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s from the time they started this test or this experiment. It includes both poor and rich. It includes educated and uneducated. It includes a wide range of people. Even John F. Kennedy was in the original research group. They collected all kinds of health information. They interviewed these participants every 2 years since 1938 and have been collecting so much of statistics, both quantitative as well as qualitative analysis, questions about their lives, about their physical, mental, emotional wellness, and even interviewed their family and friends and tried to get so much of data over a long period of time on this, what they call as the study of happiness. And this is from Dr. Robert Waldinger, who was the director of this research. And one of the key points that he wants us to take away from that research is social connections are really good for us and that loneliness kills. Okay, these are very strong words here. Social connections are good for us and loneliness is bad for us. I would like to use this time for about 5 minutes to go into breakouts. I'm requesting Vinay to help us to get into breakout rooms. We want you all to discuss these 3 questions that I posted here. Number 1, what does social connections mean to you? Unfortunately, today we have Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. But what does social connections mean to you? Please get into this WhatsApp group, into this breakout group and discuss this question. The second question is loneliness kills. What does loneliness mean? And third is a more involved question, and actually the most important question. Is there a difference between being alone and being lonely? Vinay, please enable the breakout and let our teachers discuss within their small groups, and we can reconvene back in like 5 minutes.
Brother, we have approximately 20 participants in a group. So how many times should I?
It's okay. Please get into it. It doesn't matter. Let's get into it for 5 minutes. 20 people.
5 minutes.
5 minutes
5
is
minutes?
more than enough. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Not everyone will get to answer, but that's okay.
Okay. So, brother, I will be sharing this screen so that they can see the screen. Brother, 5 minutes is over, but I think we should give some more time, or what is your thought on that?
Let's give it one more minute. We also need to, move because there's more content. Let's finish it. Vinay?
Shall I close the room?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, everyone is coming back from the breakouts. Okay, good. So, anyone wants to just share, maybe unmute and share, or just one person? These three questions, what did you guys discuss? Anyone? It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to speak a little bit.
I will change the setting so that they can unmute.
Okay, Vishakha Mehta wants to say. Why don't you unmute her?
Yes, I have unmuted. I have been unmuted. We discussed that social connection to us does not mean that it's only with Facebook or WhatsApp. We can connect with people physically by talking, by gesture, and all. And also, there is a connection between people in our mind, like by thoughts. We can connect the people by thoughts and by heart.
Exactly. Great.
And yes, being lonely and being alone. Being alone is physically we are alone. We can be alone. We can be lonely amidst the crowd. So lonely is the state of mind, basically. So amidst the crowd, Kalpana ma'am, as Kalpana ma'am said, we are many a times we feel lonely.
Excellent.
And we are short of time, loneliness kills, but yes, loneliness certainly kills. Being alone does not kill any person, but being lonely certainly kills.
It's a problem. Yes.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a big problem. It's a big
Beautiful,
problem.
ma'am. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Pallavi, Vinay, Pallavi wants to say something.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I believe what ma'am has just said, that socially we may be active, but we may still be hollow and lonely within. Okay. It is not about being surrounded by people, but it is what you have in your heart that makes you full. So socially, you may come across as a happy person, maybe posting pictures or interacting, but it's only a small group of friends or who are really close to you who will know that what you may go through. Because I think humans have mastered this art of wearing a mask after the other, one after the other, totally, layering it up, totally hiding what we feel inside.
Yes.
So choosing to be lonely is again a personal choice, but
Yes.
being alone can also be productive. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. It was superb. I think you covered all the points very nicely. Great. Maybe one more person and then we can move on. Radha Kumari. Yeah. You want to share something, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, please.
Social connection is the experience of feeling close and connected to all others. It involves feeling loved, cared for by someone, and valued, and forms the basis of interpersonal relationship.
Yes, beautiful.
That means close to others. social connection. It feels close to others, sir.
Okay. What about loneliness and being alone? Okay, I think ma'am muted. Okay, all right. We'll proceed. I think this. I think many of us, beautifully explained already. Loneliness is definitely a problem, right? One may be alone, but need not be lonely because one is connected, right? That is one. And when we say connected, and the word connection, it's a beautiful connection. Of course, we say social connection, but the first and foremost important connection is the connection with the self. Then comes the connection with others, right? So when we talk about being alone and versus being lonely, loneliness is a state of mind, whereas being alone can be just a physical thing. I am alone here right now in this room, wherever I am, but I am absolutely not lonely because there's like 400 people with me, right? So we are connected. How are we connected? We are not just connected through internet, right? There is something beyond that that is connecting us today, right? Because we are connecting and aligning in our thoughts, in our feelings. Many of us are agreeing, some of us are not agreeing, right? All this is happening, and that's all part of connections. Connection does not mean we all agree to everything that each one says, right? Disagreement is also part of connections, and disagreement is absolutely important, especially in a classroom. If everyone just shakes their head yes and yes and yes, then they all become like parrots, right? There's a need for us to think, for us to disagree, but still we are connected. So, and I think like I don't remember the ma'am's name, but beautifully she was talking about, I may be with a lot of people around me. My house is full of people, children, parents, in-laws, right, except spouse, etc., etc. But I can be extremely lonely there. It's possible, right? And we don't want that, right? Whether we are with people or whether we are alone, we absolutely don't want to be lonely. That is where we should be working on, not about the physical aloneness or physical togetherness. So that's why connections does not mean physical. Again, being loneliness does not mean physical. There's something beyond. And the research further talks about physical and mental health because of loneliness. Again, like I said, because it's the longest research, as they called it, right from 1938. I don't know when it concluded, the research, or if it's even still going on, but its impact on physical health is very drastic. Likelihood of mortality, obesity, smoking, stroke, blood pressure, even disability. Loneliness has direct relations as per the research on the physical aspect and also on the mental aspect, a decline in cognitive skills, clinical dementia, prone to depression, and even predictability of suicide. So we said initially, success and IQ were missing from the list of factors, the 12 factors of happiness. And I said at that time, they can also be resulting in loneliness, right? Higher IQ and a lot of success in life can lead us towards loneliness. But again, it's all state of mind. We can work on it. It's not related at all. It's in our hands to remain happy and not lonely. The research further goes on that as the research went over the years, as people grew and became adults, more and more adults, they were able to especially do this one very, very important thing of letting go. Letting go, about this mask that our ma'am was talking about. These masks that we are wearing, it's time that we let go. You see, do not sweat the small stuff. Let go of past. I would go beyond this statement here. It's saying past failures. I would say let go of past successes also, right? Because they do not contribute to my present moment at all. Older people are definitely better in this, to be able to be in this present moment, being happy here and now. Finally, that's all that matters. So this research continued further and talked about this. And finally, they talked about two critical points, which we did touch upon in that question and answer breakout room that we did, about connection and about the quality of relationships. Connecting and communicating is very, very important. This we are right now practicing in this session, even though we are sitting all over the world, all over India at least, people are everywhere, right? How do I connect with everyone? Because otherwise I can keep communicating, right? I can keep on talking, but if it doesn't enter your system, it's a waste, right? So in some way, I'm trying to connect with all of you and then communicate. And this connection happens at multiple levels. Ma'am talked about mental level. At the thought level, we must communicate. We must connect. But more importantly, at the heart level, we must connect. Because that is the real connection, right? Where a heart-to-heart connection means that we are in sync, right? Not just at the mental and intellectual level, but at the social and emotional level. Because man, after all, is a social animal. And connection means at the social and emotional levels, much more than at the mental and intellectual levels. Happiness is directly related to such connections, and quality of relationships is what that matters, not just quantity, right? And developing positive relationships, environment influencing happiness, we spoke about this also. So these are some of the key points. These 6 points are like the result of that particular research. We are now at a time where we move on to the last topic, meditation and happiness. I don't want to spend too much time here because we have just about 25 minutes left and we want to meditate together. The most important point here that we want to try to communicate with all of us here is meditation is a key aspect of happiness. And heartfulness meditation is very simple. It is to live one's life with the guidance of the heart. It's a simple set of practices that includes relaxation, meditation, introspection, rejuvenation, connections, etc. It helps us to do two things: connect with our heart and regulate our minds. These are, like I said, being mindful and being heartful. These two things is what heartfulness drives again and again and again. These are the two fundamental points: to connect with the heart and to regulate the mind, so that we can nurture our inner strengths and attitudes. We enable inner excellence and overall well-being. How is happiness related to meditation? I am going to just ask a series of questions. You can just go through this. Can excellence be achieved without happiness? I'm sure you will answer very easily to all this as something no, right? Can happiness be realized without inner harmony? Can inner harmony be felt without having a contemplative nature in that person? Can a contemplative nature be imbibed without focused thinking? Can focused thinking be developed without a well-regulated mind? Can a well-regulated mind be developed without meditation? Because meditation is the tool or the habit or the practice that develops a well-regulated mind and a purified heart. So meditation resulting in inner harmony, resulting in happiness, that takes us towards excellence. What is meditation? Very, very, very simple. This quadrant that you see here, you see 4 quadrants. There's focus, focusless, and there is effort on the x-axis, focus on the y-axis. If you take the quadrant number 4, where one is not doing any effort and one is not doing any focus, having any focus also, it's a state of daydreaming, one would say, right? A thoughtless life, just getting wasted. From the state of effortless, focusless state, we move to the state of, I want to put in effort now suddenly, but I don't have, unfortunately, the focus that I need. It results in frustration because I'm putting in a lot of effort, like a student studying for an exam with a lot of effort, but there is no focus in his mind. But at the same time, if you go into the second quadrant, it's a state of success, right? A state of concentration where effort and focus both exist together. From there, if we move into the quadrant 1, this is called as meditation. Effortless focus, a state that is so light, so beautiful, so simple that I can live a state of focused mind, ekagrata as it's called, without any effort. without putting in any effort. Heartfulness talks about experience. It emphasizes the fact on experience. It is worth tons of knowledge, as Daji puts it here. With this, we now move into the experience of heartfulness. We are going to practice meditation. Vinay, is anyone going to conduct this, or do you want me to do this?
Yes, brother, you can conduct, please.
Great. We're going to go through two practices: heartfulness relaxation followed by heartfulness meditation. This, I would say, is the most important part of this particular session, where we are going to actually experience the state of lightness and calmness within us, which leads to happiness. So let us please, dear friends, gently close our eyes. I will guide you through this. It's very easy. You don't need to read anything that is shown in the slide. Do not worry about what is put here. We're going to do for about 20 minutes. Very gently close your eyes. You can enable your videos. You can keep your videos on. Gently close your eyes. First, scan through your entire system from the feet all the way to the top of your head. We are going to relax the body parts first and then slip into meditation from there. Bring your attention to your toes. Just follow my instructions with your eyes closed. No need to open your eyes. Just gently follow my instructions with your eyes closed. Bring your attention to your toes. Feel it getting relaxed. Relax your ankles and your feet. Feel a very gentle, soothing energy entering your feet, moving up through your legs, relaxing your ankles, your knees, your thighs. Your entire legs are deeply relaxed. As this energy flows through your legs, your hips, your stomach, and your waist is getting relaxed. Bring your attention to your back. Your entire back from the top to the bottom is deeply relaxed. As this energy moves through your back, bring your attention to your chest and feel it relaxing. Now to your shoulders. Feel how all the tension in your shoulders are simply melting away and just completely loosening your shoulders. Now, as this energy moves through your arms, your entire arms, your upper arms, each muscle in your forearm, your entire hands right up to your fingertips are now deeply relaxed. Your neck muscles are now relaxing. So from the bottom of your feet all the way to the leg muscles, they are now deeply relaxed. Bring your attention to your face now. All parts of your face, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth, your chin, your cheeks, they're all relaxing. Very gently, your eyes are closed without any flutter, very calmly closed. Bring your awareness to your mind, and it is also deeply relaxed. In this present moment, completely relaxed state, we gently bring the mind's attention towards the heart. Rest. Meditation is all about resting. It is not about doing, but it's about non-doing. It's about resting and relaxing. Just like how we relax the body, we are now going to relax the mind through meditation. By giving it a very gentle suggestion that there is a source of light present in the heart, we are turning the mind's attention towards the heart. You may feel the heartbeat or your breath to bring your attention towards the heart. holding on to this one simple thought that there is a source of light present there. So many other thoughts will naturally arise. They arise only to leave you. Do not give it any attention. Very gently let them go. This way, you are able to hold on to this one single idea or suggestion that there is a source of light present in the heart. We do this for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In the silent meditation, if your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the heart. And that is the practice. And over a period of time, your mind will learn to rest, settle down in this one single sacred thought that there is a source of light present in the heart. In this approach, we are able to tune the mind with the heart, being mindful and heartful at the same time. Till I say that's all, please continue this practice. Please start meditation. That's all. We were talking about connections. This meditation is all about connection and about energy. A very gentle and subtle energy that flows into all of us when we sit for meditation like this in a group, wherever we may be. I hope you all experienced a state of peace and calmness through this practice. Any practice does not begin with one day or end with one day. It takes effort, like we said, for happiness, the 40% intentional, effortful, and through practice. So we request everyone here who are attending this program to continue this practice of meditation. We will be helping you with this practice of meditation over all these 5 sessions that we are going to have. And I'm sure you are also connected with our heartfulness trainers in your own respective centers to further continue this practice. I hope this session has been helpful to all of you. I personally really enjoyed joining this group of 400 plus teachers. It was really amazing to connect with all of you and share our ideas and thoughts together. I now pass on this back to Pooja, who will take us through the remaining formalities for the day and then the plan for tomorrow. Pooja, over to you.
Thank you, Bharat sir. That was a wonderful session. We really enjoyed it. We got to know so many new things about happiness. Till now, we were only knowing the word happiness for ourselves, but now we got to know so many new concepts behind it. A neuroscience, a big neuroscience, which results in our happiness, and we got to know that our happiness lies in our own hands, and we can really rewire our brains. We can rewire our system and regain our own happiness the way we want. And lastly, our meditation session, that was a simply wonderful experience, which is going to help us reconnect and rewire our system and rewire our brains so that we can get this inner happiness, which is already within us, and enhance it even further as and when we practice every day, little by little, as and when we get time. We are going to really benefit with this meditation process. So thank you all teachers for joining us for today's session. Again, tomorrow we'll be meeting the same time with a new topic and a new presenter. Till then, thank you all.